On a couple of things. Good morning. Good morning. Just wanted to bring everyone up to speed. Wanted to remind us that this is the last month of the year, that now is the time that if we aren't already, that we have to push, that we have to do more, that we really need to focus on getting some results, doing the right action going forward. So here's what I wanted to remind you guys of. So I'm hoping that you all not only sent in your 16 personalities assessment results to me, but I hope that you took the time to actually look at and review what your 16 personalities result meant, and then what your strengths and weaknesses are. And here's why I wanted us to do that to begin with. I really wanted you to know who you are. And I'm talking about from an objective third person point of view, where it says, hey, Neil, this is you. This is what you're good at. These are your weaknesses. And then this is how I'm perceived by others. So that was the first step that I wanted us to take in knowing who we are. There are going to be some subsequent steps that we're going to follow, some things that we're going to take so that we really can be poised to win in this thing called real estate, especially as things turn. Things have already turned in the industry, but things are going to continue to turn. We're having conversations. I'm seeing some things, talking to some people who are much smarter than myself. So I wanted to share some things with you quickly. But so first, I want to make sure that not only did you send your assessment result to me. So I received everyone's assessment result. I really want, if you have not gone in and looked at that, I'm going to encourage you to do that today. I believe that we're pushing too much stuff to tomorrow. And so here's what I'm going to, where we're going to go after I share something shortly, is going to be talking about how to go from average to fortune, how to go from mediocre to fortune, from okay to someone of exceptionalism. And so all of that is important to us. Okay, so here's what I wanted to remind you guys of. So I was doing some reading, and when I looked into the studying that I was doing, I saw, or I came upon these 5 things that Jim Rohn said. Oh, before I do that, speaking of 5, I issued a challenge to us for us to get some wins under our belts, for everyone to have at least 5 real estate conversations last week, 5 relevant conversations with someone talking about real estate. They could not be in the industry, and it had to be a pertinent conversation. So I'm not going to ask you to put yes or no in the chat. What I am going to ask you to do is ask yourself, did you have your 5 conversations with someone last week? Did you have 5 intentional conversations? Because Jim Rohn said, if you want to make twice as much money, spend twice as much time in front of the prospect. We have to double the time that we spend talking to the people that want to do business, that's ready, willing, and able. And so last week it was 5. So of course, this week we're going to increase that as we get closer to the holidays. We're going to go up to 7, because I don't believe that any of us hit our real estate goals. So I'm going to challenge each of us to have 7 conversations, right? So that we can hit our goals at the end of the year. We want to make sure that we're having 5, 7, 10, 15 conversations specifically about real estate. And here's what I'm going to ask you all to do. And we're going to look at these 5 steps here in a moment. But one of them is to study so that you can know what to have conversations about. Right. Last week, if you're not aware, Tuesday was a big day just in the real estate space with what happened with the mortgage, with the interest rates, right? And so this is going to be a reason that is just built into our day-to-day of how or why we should have these conversations. So the 5 things that Jim Rohn said for us, and I believe they're still applicable to each of us today. The first one is to get serious, right? He was talking about get serious about setting goals, about personal development. I'm going to ask you, have you gotten serious about this? Have you gotten serious about real estate? Have you gotten serious about going from wherever you are to elite? Right. And so there's something that I absolutely love about NAREP, the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals, is that they have the NAREP 10. And one of the NAREP 10 is for the members of NAREP to be in the top certain percent in the industry. That's what I consider getting serious. Okay, making a decision that I'm going to do this or else, right? And have a punishment, have a pain, have a consequence on the other side of failure. So one of the things I'm going to ask you today, right, on December 4th, have you gotten serious about whatever it is? Now, I know the easy, quick, fast answer, because we also want to protect ourselves and our feelings. The answer is to say yes. Right. So I have to tell you all that about real estate and selling real estate, my seriousness had fallen off simply because it was easy. Right. I was like, I don't really have to do anything. Let me speak, let me coach and train. The real estate business will come. And it has. Okay. But now, over the past 2 weeks, I've said, wait, let me get serious. How good could I be if I get back to being serious about this? If I focus on success and focus on this thing. So the first thing that Jim says that we have to get serious, and I hope that you are serious today as we move forward. The next thing is get smart. And this is where I alluded to the information or why we're able to have conversations with people about real estate. Get smart, study. Have you studied not only the industry, but think, last week I asked us to do those personality assessments. Have you studied yourself, right? Study to show yourself approved, but study yourself to show yourself approved. So today, dive into that 16 personalities assessment, the results that came in. When it comes to studying our real estate, do you know what the trend is right now with the mortgage rates? Did you hear the information from Jeremy Powell and the Fed and what that means and what it could mean to us? Do you understand inflation? Do you know list price to sales price ratio, months of inventory, days on market for your marketplace and your specific type of property? This is the stuff that has not changed. This is the stuff that will not change. It doesn't matter about the tech. If you don't know where someone should price a property or where they should make an offer or how long the property is going to be on the market, we have not gotten smart about our industry. When we talk about getting smart, have you looked at different ways to get leads for your business? Have you gone in and said, okay, maybe I can create or generate more business from doing A versus B? That's what I call getting smart. It's not doing what everyone else is doing just because it's popular. You have to figure out what works for you and your personality. That's why we did the personality piece first. There are going to be some of us who just absolutely hate face-to-face networking. There are going to be some of us who absolutely hate going in and doing the hard, arduous work of diving into the details. But once we know what our personality is and what our weakness or our strength is, now we can get smart and we can work smarter. Then get going. After we have gotten serious and gotten smart, then we have to turn our thoughts into actions. Where in your business do you need to get going? Where do you need to execute? I'm going to dare say, looking at the names on the screen right now, all of you know enough. You already know enough to be successful. I've seen you all have moments. We've had moments and spurts of success. We've tasted it before. Okay, so I'm going to ask you right now, where do you need to take action? Jim Rohn called it action pronto. This is not action. Well, we're going to start this and then 6 years down the line. I'm talking about right now, what can you do that's probably going to yield a result in 30, 45, or 60 days? In our industry, there are things that we can do right now. It typically involves talking to someone else. If we pick up the phone, if we send, now I'm talking about pick up the phone and actually make a phone call. If we send text messages, do some type of video. If we leverage social media the right way, one-to-one to build connections, we can positively impact our income in 30, 45, or 60 days. We just aren't doing enough of that, right? Not in a specific poignant way. So I'm going to ask you, where can we find those few things in 30, 45, 60 days when it comes to actually getting going and then getting excited, right? I know that the holiday is a hard, tough time for us to get excited. Many of us are saying it's the end of the year. Either we're ready to be in chill mode or we might be in panic mode, right? But this is where we have to find something that's going to get us excited. Why? Because when we look around, our colleagues, our peers, the competition, they're going to slow down, right? We just see it. I'm looking right now, having conversations. Wife, some of her clients have just pulled back on the number of transactions that they're getting under contract. And if we aren't careful, we'll look around and we'll say, it's okay for us to slow down. That's why we have to get excited, why we have to look at whatever that goal, whatever that motivation, that reason is, that's going to pull us through. And then finally, the last one is get away, right? If we want to be elite, there are going to be some times when we have to get away. And that's what wife and I did this past weekend. But in my get away, it's not just run away from problems. That's when we're going to spend some time, when we're going to sit down and reflect, when you're going to analyze what you've done over the past week, month, quarter, so that you can dive harder, so that you can go stronger in the upcoming season. So I'm going to encourage you all right now. I believe that over the next month, from today through the new year, there's going to be a lot of opportunities. We're going to have chances to be in front of a lot of people who have questions, who are interested in making real estate decisions, and they need someone that they can trust. And my question is that going to be you? Are you going to be serious enough to study? And then you're going to come in and say, all right, now that I'm serious, now that I'm studying, now can I get going? Right. And so that might mean we preview properties, that we shoot videos. It might mean that we're getting mailers, note cards out. That might mean that we are actually going by doing pop buys during this season, dropping off just a little something where we could say, hey, I just wanted to be in front of you as the holiday season rolls around, right? The basics have not changed. What we are seeing change is the frequency. The really good ones, they're doubling down right now when things get hectic, when things get kind of topsy-turvy. The great ones, even in our own marketplaces, you don't have to go far. You don't have to look at Brian Buffini. You don't have to look at everyone that's on YouTube or doing videos or teaching classes. I'm telling you, I'm having conversations with them. I'm looking at them. I'm seeing in our marketplace what's happening, and they are doubling down. So if they were doing 20 note cards a week, now they're doing 40. If they were doing 6 pop buys, they're doing 12, 15, where they are saying, I want to make sure that when everyone else is focused on the chaos, the panic, the lawsuits, I'm focusing on building relationships and making connections. I want to remind us here in Florida that we live in a place where people want to come and where agents are referring a lot of business. So I'm going to encourage you to use your relationships to build referrals with out-of-area agents, out-of-area individuals. I don't know if what Clutch is seeing there in Tampa, but we know here in South Florida that the snowbirds, that the Canadians are back. When Charles and I hit the golf course, there were a number of Canadians in the or on the course. And so wife and I, pickleball, we're seeing floods of French Canadians on the pickleball court. So now, are you serious enough to get smart, to get going, to get excited, and then get away? And in all of that, use your personality so that when it comes time for you to come in and have those 7 conversations this week, right? We're just taking steps because the goal is to build momentum. And I can't say, let's have 50 conversations. We failed there. Some of us might say, what's the point? Okay. So I really want us to dive in. Let's have those conversations this week. It is going to make a big difference, the amount of momentum that you either have or don't have going into the holiday season. So going into that last 10 days of the year can make or break the first quarter of 2024. And that's why we're just doing these small things. That's why I want you really taking this time to say, okay, yes, I'm serious. Yes, I'm committed. Can I build up so that when I get to December 20th, that I'll have momentum so that I can roll into the new year, so that I can have some momentum, so I can have some focus, some drive, and some push, so that Q1 of 2024 is going to be a success. So that's a key. You're going to hear me talk to you a lot collectively and individually about pushing through these next 2 weeks. So the last 10 days of the year can be 10 days of success, right? 10 days of momentum, 10 days of preparation to pull us into 2024. Because if not, we're going to find ourselves, we could potentially find ourselves in a place come March where we're contemplating, do we renew our licenses or not, right? I'm having a lot of those conversations with some of my clients. They're saying, do I renew or not? And the answer is, if you have to ask, these next 20 days are going to be pivotal. It's going to be a big push. All right. So that's what I had for us. Make sure that you review your personality assessment, dive in there, see what it means to you, about you, how you interact with others, how you can identify those other personalities, right? And then what your strengths and weaknesses are. Let's have those 7 conversations this week, and then let's get serious, smart, going, excited, and let's get away. So I am done with that part. I'm going to take action today. Take action this morning. It is now 8:33. You have time before 9 o'clock to make sure that you're poised for success, that you're poised for a win today. And here's my belief. If there's something that must get done, absolutely must get done today, see if we can execute and get that done before noon. If we can execute and get that done before noon, the likelihood, the probability of us winning the rest of our day, of us having the emotional feeling of a victor almost goes up threefold. So I would appreciate it if we can focus, if we lock in before 12, get as much done as we can on this Monday morning. I will be available except between 1 and 3. I'm available today except between 1 and 3. If you guys need me, reach out to me. Otherwise, remember, I love you. God loves you. There's nothing you can do about it. Don't be average. Be world renowned. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.